live. I guess the first one just wasn't showing up on my end, but yeah, this should be working. So yeah, I'll start off with some updates for you all. I think I mentioned before, had a chance to talk to Joe Mixon's trainer, Ryan Ting, and as you guys saw in some of the videos, Joe's mobility is increased markedly, and he is tracking for early in training camp. He's done a lot of stuff. He's made a lot of progress. And okay, there's Oscar. Hello from McAllen. Oscar, yeah, thanks for joining the live. And yeah, this is starting to work now. So yeah, we had some issues, a few technical difficulties. Hey, thanks, Cassia. Appreciate you joining. And yeah, look forward to answering all your questions. And yeah, I got a few new things here. I got my ring light and adding some stuff. Yeah, thanks for the Memorial area. Shout out Memorial. I've got some relatives there. First question, let's start. Jimmy Ward, is he going to be released? To be determined, Richard. It depends if he is successful in court. He is obviously facing a felony third-degree charge, and Judge Lisa McChalk has set an initial court date of August the 13th, which, as you know, is well into training camp. Whether he'll practice, whether he'll be on the commissioner's exempt list, whether he'll be physically unable to perform after foot surgery, all up in the air. So, to answer your question in a more complex manner, it is a fluid situation, and we don't know yet, Richard, if he's going to be on the roster. And I think, from what I understand, they want to let this play out. He is getting, representation from Steven Jackson out there in Montgomery County. He's from Conroe. He's a veteran attorney, and he's someone that, is well-versed in the legal system out there. He says there's two sides to the story. I don't want to do anything that could be viewed as victim shaming. I have seen some court documents. I've seen many things, but we're not going to name the accuser. We're not going to get into a lot of that stuff. I'm not going to do the lawyer's job for them. I will just say that, he's going to have his version of events, and there is some backstory between him and the baby's mother, his, at one point, fiance. They've been never actually had a wedding, but they've been engaged multiple times. Someone wants to know, is Damian Pierce being really traded? I don't think there's anything in the works on a trade. I think he's going to come to training camp. I don't think he'll get a lot of trade value. I think he'll be possibly the kickoff returner and a backup running back. Yep, Richard, Fort Lauderdale. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, Fort Lauderdale in the house. And so let's see. And you guys, just mostly this is to answer your questions. So we'll, run through them all. 3 players who have the most to prove in training camp. One of those is Christian Harris. He's got to prove that he can be healthy. He's had a reoccurrence of this calf injury that cost him most of last season. So I think he's one of the players that has a lot to prove. And then I would say, when you think about Blake Fisher, really in the crosshairs, because he's facing competition for his job from the rookie Ariante Ursary, who's also a candidate left tackle. And then another player that I think has a lot to prove is one of the new players, Damon Arnett Jr. If they're going to consider him for the third corner route, he's got to be reliable. He's got to stay out of trouble. I think, talking to some Roughnecks people today and the UFL Commissioner of Football Ops, Daryl Moose Johnston, they feel good about it. They feel confident about his ability to, be healthy and help himself and, stay out of trouble. Okay, honored artist. I don't know about that. Jim Davies wants to know if I'm looking forward to going to the Greenbrier. Yes, it's nice weather. It is a long trip, but I've been there. This will be my 3rd trip to the Greenbrier, and I enjoy the Greenbrier, especially the town of Lewisburg, which is a neighboring town where I'll probably be staying. I've got a hotel reservation there, so I'll probably be in Lewisburg. It's about 15 minutes from the Greenbrier. Greenbrier, not a lot of rooms available. It is a casino resort. They have that Jerry West Steakhouse. I like that one. I probably will check that out and go over there at least one night, and so we'll have some good dinners. There's only a few media from Houston I've heard that are traveling, but I'll be there, and hopefully I'll get more versed in these lives, and we'll have more and more conversations, and I'll be posting videos, and I'll be doing television with Randy McElvoy with KPRC, and writing, of course, at www.clicktohouston.com. Okay. Brevin Jordan, and I guess your question is going to be, is Brevin, he's in competition. He's going to practice at some point after his torn ACL. He's had good rehab. He's made a lot of progress. He's running well, and he wasn't able to practice in the spring. But remember, he got injured in September, so it's going to be about 11 months since the injury. So I think that he needs more time, and I would anticipate him being ready at some point, maybe even by the first game. We'll see how well he heals. Any updates on the new site for the training facility? Heard some rumors about Sugar Land. I've heard a little bit about that. I've heard that Harris County is still making efforts trying to keep the Texans in Harris County. I don't think they're going to go very far. I don't anticipate them being Woodlands or Katy. I think it'll be one of these neighboring cities like Pearland or Sugar Land, Missouri City area. But we'll see. Healthy, you wanted to know. Yeah, he's close to healthy. Does Braxton Berrios have a chance to make the roster? Yes, as the kick returner. Remember, just like Steven Sims, he can make it for kick returns. Will Juice Scruggs be a good leader for the offensive line? Carl wants to know. Well, Juice has got to really secure his spot. I don't think leadership is the right way to look at it. I think he's got to look out for himself, look out for his spot. Right now, he's not a starter, so it's hard to be a leader when you're a backup. And he's not a lock even to make the team right now. He's got to have a great training camp. So it is all up in the air. Running back room. Well, I think they're going to have a fullback. Jacob Johnson. I see Dario Gomawale making it. Joe Mixon, of course, and Nick Chubb. And then you're looking at Damian Pierce and Woody Marks. So they're going to keep one extra running back. We're going to find out. Mertz told me at the Frank Ross event that he is going to be able to practice during training camp. I don't know if they're going to keep 3 quarterbacks or if he's going to be practice squad or injured reserve or how they'll handle that. But, his ACL tear was last season for the Florida Gators, and I think he should be ready at some point during training camp, like he said. And I was told that independently beyond Graham Mertz that he would be ready for training camp. I'm sorry, Paul. You don't like my blue shirt. I don't know if I got a heckler there. It's my wife got me this shirt. It's I think it's PGA Tour brand. It's not so bad. Come on. What kind of shirts do you have, Paul? Your shirts are better? Whatever. All right. Sarah wants to know if Tay beats out Blake Fisher, that they would hold off on starting Tay because he's a rookie. If he's ready, they'll put him out there, Sarah. If they feel comfortable that he's not going to jump off sides, he's going to block guys. If he's the best right tackle and he's ready, they'll get him out there. But normally, when they establish someone as a starter in the spring, it's not something where they just move off of that. It's easy to talk yourself into anything. In my opinion, you want to have the best 5, the most talented. But if he's not ready, then you can punt this down the road a little bit. Woody Marks, I think he's a better pass catcher than the other backs. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate that. Paul, hecklers. All right. If they keep an extra running back, what group has one less? Maybe tight end? LOL likes Damon Arnett. I had some good feedback about Damon Arnett today from Leon O'Neal from the Roughnecks, his teammate in the secondary, all UFL safety Leon O'Neal from Cypress and Texas A&M. And Daryl Moose Johnson said he's proud of him. I'll be posting that video later. Grab the camera for CJ Routed. All right, I like that idea. British Brooks is definitely on the bubble. No lock to make it. If he makes it, it's going to be on special teams like last year. I think it's a competition at center. I just think Jake Andrews is the front runner. He's in the lead for the job. I know you like Jahar Jordan. I don't know if there's going to be enough reps to go around. There are a lot of backs on this team. Honestly, and again, you might disagree, I didn't think they needed Nick Chubb. I thought they could have established Woody Marks as the backup. And if anything, I think it slows down his development a bit. It was a little premature, but as you can see, they're going all in. They're getting any player they think is a good veteran. Linebacker spot right now, it's Henry Toto. They are overlooking him a bit. He just missed time during the spring. I thought he was a reliable second starter. He did a better job than a lot of people thought he would have. He was more physical. He took more precise pathways in terms of pursuit angles to get to the football. He was a good tackler, almost too good a tackler. He kind of a little friendly fire injured Jalen Petrie. That said, Henry is a good linebacker, and I think he's going to be first string when they go out there with first defense when camp starts. Christian Harris, EJ Speed have to get after him to try to win the job. Believe in second chances. Yeah, well, it's a country of second chances. I've talked about that a bit before. Everyone has gotten a second chance. We've all had some opportunity that we needed and some people helped us with. So yeah, we'll see what happens, what Damon Arnett makes of it. I know that from talking to Damon, it means a lot to him. I've texted with him a bit since the roster move, and he's very excited. Yes, I think Cade Stover, great question, can make a leap under the direction of Nick Haley. It's a very tight end friendly offense. Stover looked more precise in his routes, a little more powerful in his build, a little leaner, just more explosive. I thought he was looking pretty good. Rookie's not looking as great. I haven't seen like a rookie having a big problem. I thought Jalen Smith had some issues with staying with these receivers. That's not a big shock. I thought that Luke Lachey looked a little slow. He's not the fastest guy, but it's not a surprise, right? And also I thought with the whole deal with the rookie receivers, obviously it was a little disappointing to have Jalen Noel miss some time with a minor injury, but he'll be ready for camp. Let me back up a little bit here. Just want to make sure I didn't miss something here. Costigan wants to know, will Jalen Reed be Jalen Petrie's backup? Well, it could also be Jimmy Ward, or he could be the backup safety and backup nickel. But yeah, Reed to me is perfect for a lot of nickel duty, and he's a good blitzer. He's a feisty, boisterous linebacker type. I like the way he is around the football. He arrives in a bad mood. He's a big hitter. Christian Harris, yeah, I don't know about training videos, but he'll be out there this summer with Ja'Cory Nichols. I expect him to be full go at training camp. I think he's going to get himself together. Prediction of an injury. Joe Mixon. He does have a history of high ankle sprains and some tight Achilles. And the Chubb becomes the number one back. And then Woody will leave his mark. Pun intended. All right. A prediction from Blue Aces. Interesting. You might be right. I think it will be Chubb. Will be running back 2. Answer Brett Jones's question. Shout out from Baytown. Baytown in the house. Damon, I think he will work out with those guys when he's in town. He's in Dallas right now. And I know he works out a lot. He works very hard. He's someone that gets there at 6 a.m. in the morning. He's a very hard worker. But yeah, when he's in town, I expect him to connect probably with Ja'Cory. Everybody works out with Ja'Cory, also known as One Way. Great trainer. A lot of great trainers in this town. Footwork King, Justin Allen, and of course the aforementioned Ja'Cory Nichols. So I've been to all those workouts. I've even worked out with Justin. I once threw out my back, but that was my fault working out with Justin. But yeah, I was on a good track. I was really getting in great shape. And then I did these kettlebell swings. Had some sciatica after that. But I'm doing better now. I'm pretty healthy, but I am working out on my own. Legendary rookie punter. No, they don't have a rookie punter. They have the same punter. There's no IR. There's only one punter on the roster, the same punter from last year, Tommy Townsend. And Mr. Lee wants to know how long it will take for the offense to start to get the way that they hope for. I think give it a month to see how things are going before you make any decisions. I think you've got to be patient with it. No, I don't think Dameon Pierce is gone. Everybody says that, and I don't agree with it. There have been many others in the press that have said, and fans that have thought they've written Dameon off, and I just don't agree. I think they like Dameon. Whether he'll be back in free agency after this season really remains to be seen. I could see him, them moving on. And him moving on, maybe a fresh start is best for him. But no, I haven't heard of any action toward getting Damian off the roster. Not guaranteeing he'll make the team. I'm just telling you, yeah, he's got a very good chance to make the team. Strange not having John Weeks. Yeah, it'll be weird not having John Weeks around. John is such a good veteran presence, someone that I feel like for such a long time has, been an outstanding individual for this team. So yeah, when I look at everything that John Weeks has done, everything he's been about, to me, it's just been absolutely outstanding. And yeah, it's different not having around. What's up, Joel? CJ, he didn't text me to let me know about the private workouts, being facetious and serious. He normally will have them at UCLA. He does plan to have some workouts, I'm told. I think Kalen looks very similar, maybe a little stronger. He's a wiry guy. Oscar Sanchez wants to know if Kalen Bullock has put on some muscle. I think he's going to remain. This is basically who he is. He's a thinner guy with a very high metabolism. I don't expect him to ever look quite like C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He's not going to be all buffed up, but he plays fine. I think that he's gotten stronger, if that answers your question, but he's not going to look bigger. It's not a bodybuilding contest. I think Eli Cox is a bubble guy. I know that they did a nice signing bonus for him, and you want to know about the pay, elaborate on why they pay the undrafted players that kind of bonus. They do it because they're in competition with the other teams to secure these players. And basically what it does, it guarantees their practice squad salary. So they make the team, and this is essentially building in their practice squad guys. So whether it's KC Osai or Eli Cox, really the only rookie undrafted that I think will make this team is Austin Brinkman, your new lead long snapper, with the release of Tucker Addington, now with the Pittsburgh Steelers, per my sources and now confirmed by the Steelers. Small scoop, I will not throw any fish back. I take them all. Any scoops I can get. That's a small scoop, but happy to get it. And good luck to Tucker, a good dude from Sam Houston State in New Braunfels. Yeah, I'm getting over my live phobia. Even tonight, I kept pushing the button for where my live was, and it just wasn't going. It was in the live where I thought it was going to be, and I hit go live, and just glad everybody was able to find me. I was under the impression that the live, I had to open it from my link, and apparently I just needed to hit go live, and I'm more comfortable doing this on my phone, and I've been making some improvements here. You see we got a microphone, introduce that. This is my ring light, and so I'm working on it. A lot of Damian Pierce questions. He is not running back 2 right now. It's Nick Chubb. I haven't seen those new jerseys. I'm not sure what's going on with the jerseys, but they haven't shown us those new jerseys yet. Haven't seen them. Kay Kroger, he worked out. He worked out for the team at a minicamp. Then he went to the New York Jets. He got signed. I'm not seeing really a path for John Metchie III, barring an injury and better play, to being on the roster. I just don't think he's the same player he was at Alabama. To me, a change of scenery would behoove John Metchie III. Oh, yeah. I know what middle school you're talking about. I don't want to blow up their spot, but I know where you're talking about. Yeah, I've been there many times. Yes, that is the middle school. They're always out there working. They work very hard. They care a lot about this. And yeah, it's not a big secret, but I don't think they want people coming by and waving and asking for autographs, that kind of thing. But yeah, I know you're on the inside. You know what you're talking about. No, I don't see another kicker. Definitely not Justin Tucker. No, I think I've known Justin for a long time. I was disappointed with the allegations against Tucker. It was surprising to me from knowing him and knowing about, when he was planning his engagement and getting married and having their first child and covering him in the Super Bowl and all those things, and covering so many of his community events. But, just keep in mind, everyone has some kind of secret. Might not be a deep, dark secret, but everybody has secrets. And that was something that we didn't know about him. But I can tell you, I've talked to people in Baltimore, not just with the Ravens, but people that own businesses, and they had the same experience. They didn't necessarily turn him in or talk to the press, but they had the exact same experience that was described by those different masseuses. So tough thing, and ultimately the Ravens had to move on, and his kicking suffered. He was having marital problems last season, I was told, and it's just a unfortunate development out there. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate the feedback. Hey, what's up from San Antonio? Good to talk to you. I don't think he's worth a lot of picks. I mean, like 5th, 6th round, maybe. I just not see that. I'm not seeing a lot of picks. Megatron and Nico, it's just different in terms of height, weight, speed. Calvin Johnson is aforementioned Megatron, but most people just call him Calvin Johnson. And Calvin is, Nico's outstanding, and he's physically very competitive. But when I tell you Calvin Johnson, the size of his hands, the 40-yard dash time, the vertical leap, he is more athletic and larger and more of a specimen than Nico Collins. And Nico is 6'4", 222, running a low 4.4, about 4.44 speed. But this guy was on a different level, a Hall of Fame level, Calvin Johnson. Just different levels to this, but no knock on Nico. Nico's a great athlete. That guy's just different. Appreciate it with the thumbs up. Thank you. Steve Arena, what's up? All-time face of the Texans, JJ or Andre? I got to go with Andre because he really put them on the map with the Hall of Fame. Obviously, he preceded JJ, and I think he, in terms of accomplishments, they're both great. I would say, yeah, for the offense, Andre. For the defense, no question, JJ Watt. And congratulations to JJ and his wife on the new arrival. They have another son, so 2 boys, and JJ, as he said, life is good. He's a broadcaster for CBS. He's working with the great Ian Eagle as a game analyst. And JJ's got 2 sons. He's got the soccer club, a lot of great things. And he said football is in the past for him as far as playing football. He's lost that itch. And he's 36 years old. He has nothing to prove. 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year. And the clock is ticking. And talking to him in Canton last year, you could tell as he soaked up Andre Johnson's great moment that he can't wait to have that moment for himself. Great question. What about CJ's name? I just think that's it, the Coleridge part. He just maybe thought it sounded cool. JJ and Brian Cushing, very close, yeah. They are brother-in-laws. Of course, JJ married Brian's wife's sister, and I think that was, they're very close. Yeah, absolutely cool. Good friends. Why isn't Arian Foster involved with the Texans? That's his preference. He didn't necessarily leave on the terms he wanted to, and his relationship with the organization has been improving a little bit over the past year. But that's some of that's Arian, some of that's the Texans. I would say he just doesn't like to do that, and he's not necessarily where football is all he's about. He has other interests. He has music. He has art. He has many things that he's interested in. He's a dad. He doesn't spend all of his time thinking about football. He's a very well-rounded Renaissance man, if you will. Doesn't have other things. He doesn't necessarily fixate on the Texans. Top 3 DBs, Texans history. There's Jonathan Joseph. There's Kareem Jackson. And there's Derek Stingley Jr. Top 3 games I'm looking forward to. I like the LA trip. I'm excited about the Rams game. I think it's going to be a fun game to cover. I also like going to LA. A lot of what I base on the trips, games, is sometimes the travel. Kansas City, nothing like Arrowhead Stadium. And then for a home game, Buffalo. Very into the Buffalo game. Baltimore, for me, is fun, but that's just personally because I'm from the D.C. area and I covered the Ravens for 15 years, so most the guys are still there. Guys I'm friends with, like John Harbaugh, their general manager, Eric DaCosta, and the media, of course, my old friends from the Baltimore Sun, where I worked. So, yeah, going to Baltimore is always a homecoming for me, where I owned a home, where I got married for the first time. All those things, a lot of good life moments for me in terms of Baltimore. So, yeah, I fond memories. So I always look forward to that game. Great question. I want to think about that on the Ring of Honor. I think it's going to be, they have to make a decision. Is that going to be Arian Foster? And right now we're not hearing a lot about Ring of Honor talk. They're not going to do it every single year, I can tell you that. They're going to be picky about Ring of Honor. Blue Aces wants to know if the offense has enough firepower to beat the Ravens. I don't know about that. I think the Ravens still have a strong defense. They have trouble with the quarterback. Everybody has trouble with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. I'm just not sure that they're, I don't think they're going to get blown out the way they did in the Christmas game, but it remains to be seen. That's why they play the games. I know that's a little bit boring answer, but I just don't know that they've gotten better than the Ravens just yet. How can you be the water boy or the towel boy? You're looking for a new job. Okay, yeah, definitely apply online. Looking for those jobs. People really want to be out there. There's a lot of interns, there's a lot of things like that. Josh, thank you so much. I appreciate your feedback. Yeah, there are a lot of great ones that cover this team. Doing my best. Just try to, bring you what I have and, just try to do a good job. Give you the information I hope that you guys are looking for. And then I'm branching out a little bit here. With YouTube, my bread and butter, of course, is KPRC TV and writing at www.click2houston.com. Thank you so much. What brought me to H-Town? John McClain recruited me to cover the team. He was someone that wanted me to work with him, recruited me to be his colleague on the Texans beat. We collaborated really well for a bunch of years, and now I work for a television station. So, yeah, John and I had a good partnership and ton of respect for the great John McClain. I think the defense already stopped Travis Kelce. I think they can definitely slow him down. Remember the Super Bowl, what C.J. Gardner-Johnson did to him? And obviously had a little bit of fun making fun of the Swifties. I expect him to do that again. That's his style. He's not going to hold back. I would expect him to let Travis know about it. We'll see. Travis has lost some weight. Maybe he's a little quicker this year. We're going to see if that makes a difference for Travis and his style of play. Okay. What's up, D's? Not going to say the second part. Super Bowl winner. Great question. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's the Chiefs. I'm not sure if it's the AFC. I don't see the Eagles necessarily repeating. Maybe Detroit. Thanks, Blue. You like when Landry and I podcast together? Landry and Shoots, yeah, they're really good. They're a great podcast. So is Seth Payne. So are many other podcasts in this market. Yeah, I have a lot of fun whenever Landry and myself and Cody, we've never podcasted together, but we have been on Randy's show at the same time. And I think we all have great conversations. Whenever I see them at practice or in the press room, yeah, they do an outstanding job. I know there's a lot of fans of both channels, and yeah, rightfully so, because they do a great job, and they are really well versed in a lot of this YouTube space. I'm just kind of an interloper and trying my best to have my own little niche in the space of YouTube and content creation, but working on it, getting better. It is definitely a work in progress, but I appreciate it. Record prediction, 12 wins. Thank you for enjoying the podcast. Appreciate that. What player do I want to interview next? Good question. I'd like to do at some point like a longer interview with Jaden Higgins. I've asked him some questions, but I haven't had a one-on-one with Jaden. I think that could be good. Ariante Ursery, I've been working on a feature on him. Definitely a one-on-one with Ursery. And then, from the returning players, I think Daniil Hunter, I think it'd be a good one-on-one. Got some interesting questions for him. And it's always great to talk football with so many of these guys. But, I think Cade Stover, I wanted to talk to him about his farm at some point. So that's interesting. Interested in that as well. And, guys, thanks for all the likes, and I appreciate it. Anybody, that does a super like, all that good stuff. Definitely appreciate those. Do I think the Texans are done? No, I think they would look at safety potentially, seeing how that goes. I think that they are open to more moves, but to me, the roster is pretty close to set. I think it's going to be, very similar to this. Okay. I get the joke. Thank you. Brigade. O-line looked good during the spring, I thought. They showed a little more cohesiveness, but it's so hard to judge because they're not able to really be physical and put their hands on guys and, hold much or knock guys on the ground. You're not supposed to do that. Or thud it up, really with your helmet, get your shoulder pads into it, and it'll be easier to judge them in camp. But I still don't know if they're going to have a lot of great days against Will Anderson Jr. and Daniil Hunter. It's really tough to block those guys. Tay's a good interview. Tay, some of the things he said, I'm still working on a feature from some content I've been saving on him, including my conversation with Brian Callahan, his position coach and run game coordinator with the Gophers. Gustavo, a pretty general question. Who's impressed me the most? Maybe I'll confine this to new player. Jaden Higgins, most impressive newcomer. One-handed catch. Most surprising roster cut? I would be surprised if they cut Dameon Pierce. I would be a little surprised if they did that. I think some people might be surprised if they keep a guy just for special teams, like British Brooks. So those are a couple ones that jump out to me really quick. A 6th-rounder, I think Jaden Reed, because of his tackling ability, I could see that he could really be someone that could help them very quickly. And in terms of special teams, and I think he's got some upside. I think he's a potential safety for this team that could make some noise down the road. But obviously, there are not a lot of starting jobs. But thank you, Sarah. Yes, Oscar, they'll be using a fullback. The plan is to use Jakob Johnson. They did that before in New England with James Devlin, who was coached by none other than Nick Caley, your new offense coordinator. Upcoming game. Obviously, the Rams game is intriguing, but down the road, the Chiefs game, because that's the team they lost to in the playoffs. That's the team that they're having trouble getting past, along with the Baltimore game. A closer game as far as besides Baltimore, a little bit in between those, is Buffalo. Very interested in that one. I don't know if Ladarius makes the team. I think Jalen Thomas is ahead of him, and so you might have to cut Juice Scruggs and or someone else for Ladarius to make the 53. Practice squad, possibly. He's a good lead blocker. This is from Keith. Yeah, he's a tough guy. Definitely a blocker. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks, diehard fan, OG Texans. Appreciate being the go-to guy for you. Yeah, it means a lot to me. Thank you. I don't know if it's a surprise because they beat them last year. Buffalo. That's my most surprising Texans win because Buffalo's so good. So I wonder if that game might be a little bit of a surprise. Yep. We'll see. It's going to be a competition. He's a 2nd-round pick. Is going to hurt if they have to cut him or trade him. All right. I did remove someone that keeps asking me for Lamar Jackson edits. I don't think that they're in the wrong place. A lot of people don't give Cam enough credit. Cam, I had this conversation with Kevin O'Connell from the Vikings. He had a lot of great things to say about Cam Robinson. I also asked Wes Phillips about him, who was his offense coordinator. And they both said he was a good guy and did a really good job. They thought highly of him. I respect both those guys' football opinions. And they're high character guys that wouldn't, just say that. So if they feel good about him, I would say, yeah, you have to really respect those opinions because they work with him last. Absolutely. And guys, remember, I'm here to take any and all questions. We'll go, because we started a little bit late, I think we're going to go about another 30 minutes. So appreciate that. Everybody get their questions in. Several questions tonight. Oh, those guys, Kelly and Popovich, yeah, they're close. They're like brothers. Those guys are good friends. They work together. For Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels, and the great Dante Scarnecchia, the offensive line coach. No, I did not grow up a Ravens fan. I grew up as a Washington Redskins fan. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say Redskins anymore. Commanders, whatever, the team they have now. So I grew up up in D.C., in the city, Northeast, Capitol Hill area, Tennessee Avenue. So my family and I would walk to RFK Stadium. And so I grew up watching guys like Doug Williams and the Hogs and John Riggins and Darryl Green. I got to meet Darryl Green, Dexter Manley, Charles Mann, later Mark Rippon. So yeah, I was a Redskins fan and hated the Cowboys and was someone that had, Redskins pennant, Redskins hat, all that stuff. And now that I cover the NFL, no, I don't really care who wins. I was never been a Ravens fan. I just covered them, and I have a lot of respect for them, and I have a lot of good relationships with the Ravens because I was there for so long, and I was treated very well by the Ravens. A lot of respect, a lot of mutual respect between me and the John Harbaughs, and before him, Brian Billick. And so we go way back, and yeah, I covered a lot of great moments, covered some interesting stories, broke the Ray Rice story. That was a tough story to do, but it was had to be done. It's just like when guys get in trouble, you have to do your job. It's called journalism. It's not necessarily the most pleasant thing in the world because obviously it's a tough moment for them, but it's not your fault as a reporter when a player gets in trouble. It's your job to do your job, which is to do the same thing we're doing with Jimmy Ward. It's a little less, profile, but you have to do the appropriate updates. That means court dates, court outcomes, suspensions potentially if they come up. All of that is part of the job. People think the media like these stories. I don't. I would say I have enough work to do. I don't make an extra penny off of a negative story. It's more just about whatever I need to do my job, which is mostly covering football, answering your questions, and writing features, doing injury updates, contract updates, negotiations, and anything we think we should do as far as matchups or different developments with the team. I'm back up a little bit here, guys. I'm going to fall behind. Broncos, yeah, good point. That is a good game. Great matchup. Broncos are the real threat in that division. They're an outstanding team. They're doing a great job with Sean Payton. My relationship with the Texans, it's a good relationship. It's something that I think is always evolving. I have a lot of respect for the Texans, D'Amico Ryans, Nick Caserio. It is kind of a little bit of a Patriot-style organization. I do my best to get information. They help me, I think as much as they can. I think that they want to play it as fair as possible. There are other journalists that cover the team nationally and locally. I'll always want more stories. But, yeah, my relationship with them is fine, especially with a lot of the players and guys that represent them and different people in the community. Yeah, it's fine. It's good. I would say it's business. We're not friends, but we're not unfriendly, if that makes sense. We're friendly associates. You understand how I feel about the Cowboys? Absolutely. Higgins and the other guy, it's 30 unsigned, and it's because Nick did the fully guaranteed deal for Jaden Higgins, and then, of course, the linebacker for the Browns above him from UCLA. He got a fully guaranteed deal, so we're waiting to see how does, butcher his name, Nick, the safety that was drafted 35th overall, does he get a fully guaranteed deal and how much? So after him, other guys will fall into line. And it wouldn't surprise me if Nick was willing to guarantee more at the spot for Ariante Ursary to eventually get it done. But right now, nothing happening and no big deal. Succession plan, Oscar, you're thinking way ahead. That Nick Caley will do so well that he gets a head coaching job. I don't know. There's Gerard Johnson, there's Bill Lazor. They would probably be in-house interviews. I don't know that. I can't answer that question, Oscar. Probably not. They probably just aren't thinking of a succession plan. I think their hope is that Caley would be here for a couple years. He's only 42 years old. I think his time will come. He's got to do well. And Mr. Lee wants to know, when I interview, talk to players or coaches, how do I read between the lines or sample through the PR talk to kind of get to how they truly feel? Follow-up questions, sometimes asking a question delicately. I'm like, yeah, I understand that, yeah, you take every game seriously, but what is it about this game that makes it a little bit different? You might phrase your question a little more specifically. Use the word specifically. What specifically makes this player tough to block? I don't need someone to say, he's great. I want someone to say, his long arm move and his spin, it's really tough. This guy is like a whirling dervish out there. It's difficult to stop him. You want a more colorful answer. Ask good questions, and you can sometimes get very insightful answers. It's my job. Not these guys aren't like a remote control. I push a button and the quotes spill out. I need to do my job of being prepared and asking them intelligent questions. I mean, Metchie, they haven't made any decision. They're going to, determine that at training camp. But yes, I do think he's on the bubble. Probably my favorite story is something where I'm writing something other people don't know. It could be an anecdote. It could be something in someone's background. I do enjoy breaking news, and I feel like that I'm judged a lot by how many stories do I break and how good a job, how detailed am I on stories that I do break, or am in, where we're all getting kind of the story at the same time, but do I do a better job of telling the story? Do I have more detail? Do I know more about the money? Do I necessarily have more about the injuries? In terms of things, sometimes I'll know something that other people don't know, like Case Keenum's going to start. So I knew that for several days. I delayed the story a little bit. I was kind of trying to help the Texans a little bit from a competitive advantage standpoint. Didn't have to do that, but I chose to do that. That was my call, and I still got to break the story. And it was stories like that are fun, or something like, not fun because I don't like to see people injured, but maybe something like Derek Stingley Jr. having exclusive that someone's injured, knowing exactly how long they're going to be out, having a good gauge for that. Or even like something explanatory like C.J. Stroud, which wasn't a big deal, but I wanted to clear that up for you guys to let you know that he was going to be okay. And, you don't always have to accept the status quo. They can say whatever they want at press conference. I respect that too. But at the same time, I can find out more and potentially get to the bottom of the story. I feel like that's my job. But just because someone tells you no or is trying to downplay something doesn't mean you have to accept that. You can continue to search for more information. I might tell you this, if you're using anonymous sources, things like that, you better be right. You have to get the story correct, and pride myself on not just being first, but you want to be accurate. Be accurate, much more important. Oh, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is a humbling kind of league. You cannot be cocky or you will be taken down a notch at some point. There's always stories. Sometimes you might know a story, but it's just not ready to go. There are many things I might be aware of that story I don't feel like is ready. I may not have enough sources. There are a lot of decisions I have to make, and I try to have good judgment about when I go with the story, when I don't go with the story. And sometimes you just have no idea, or you might find out something so late that you're just scrambling to react. You do the absolute best you can. I would say it is a tough job to be a beat writer, to be a local beat writer. Do I ever break some national stories? Of course, yeah. But that doesn't mean I'm going to win all the time. Would love to win every single story. I'm fiercely competitive at the same time. You have to be realistic. There are a lot of talented journalists out there, a lot of hard workers, so you're not going to win all the time. You want to. Do your best, That's all I could say is you got to roll up your sleeves. You got to work. Sarah, I was saying at the beginning, I think before you joined, that Joe Mixon is making a lot of progress in his training with Ryan Ting, former USC defensive back. He's gotten better. His mobility is improving. I got a positive update when I checked in on Joe Mixon. What's up, Fish with Hands? How you doing? Daniil is a good interview. Yeah, I think that he's very smart, very thoughtful, very, he's a world traveler. He's someone that has a lot of knowledge about lots of things, sports cars, international travel, international cuisine. Sometimes he goes on trips by himself. It'd be interesting to talk to him about some of those things. I've never really asked him a lot of questions. I just know these are some of his interests. Brandon Cooks was like that. Brandon was a pilot, photographer, really interesting guy. Like I said, a Renaissance man. Thank you, Tristan. Appreciate that. They're going to be flexible on zone and gap. They're going to, definitely use both. And in terms of offense, high-powered, I think certainly when you can line up with Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, you're throwing to Dalton Schultz. Hopefully Dalton plays better this year. You got C.J. Stroud as the trigger man. You've got a hopefully improved offensive line. Why not? Why can't they be high-powered, especially with some better play calling? I thought Schultz looked okay at training camp, and Oscar, I was surprised that he had such a tough season. I don't think there was any real mystery injury, though. No, I don't think there's any real excuse. I think it was just general bumps and bruises. He wasn't missing games. At the end of the minicamp, he started to look pretty good. He had just got back out there, so he was, looking explosive again. You're welcome, Mr. Lee. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, happy to connect with you guys. Thanks for being here and being part of this live. And, we're going strong, 45 minutes. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, Wade, he's been back on social media recently. I heard a little bit today that Wade's doing better. I think that he just needed to take some time. And Peyton Pardee did a good job as the interim coach. Peyton, formerly with the Roughnecks. And so, yeah, I think he's doing better. Oh, boy, funniest players. Damian Pierce, very funny guy. I'm trying to think of some others. Tim Settle Jr., very entertaining. I think some other guys that are funny. I think Laramie Tunsil had a good sense of humor. He's not here anymore, but I think someone else on the team that had a heck of a sense of humor. I'll go with those two. I don't know if I have a third. Thank you, Swish. I'll absolutely do it. Keep up the hard work. Yeah, keep working. Thank you, Viral. Yeah, Jim, you're welcome. I don't have a detailed update, but yeah, I heard he's doing okay. Didn't want to pry. And guys, yeah, we have more time, so yeah, I'm gonna do 25 more minutes. When we get to 1:10, I'm gonna cut it off. Yeah, we respect each other. We don't have like media fights and things like that. Yeah, we're all respect each other. Everyone says what's up to each other. Sometimes there's some meals together, things like that. Yeah, there's mutual respect. I would say that everybody realizes, adjust my chair a little bit, that it's a tough job, and I think it's a thing where nobody's like, this guy's does this, or I don't like that. Sometimes there's some guys that get in the way of the shot, because I do work for a television station. That I don't like. I don't like when people block the shot and you're trying to get the athlete. So yeah, when it's a group interview, everybody needs to, be respectful of each other's space, spread out, and let the athlete be the story. Broncos game, this is a tough system to play against with Bo Nix. They have a good deep threat with Marvin Mims. They have, I think, an improving young running back core. Their defense is difficult to block, and they have some really good corners, especially Patrick Surtain. And I think Johnny Barron will be an impact rookie. Was with him recently at a camp. Hey, as I say, keep swiping, keep sniping. Play action, absolutely. They will do that play action. And the pre-snap motion, new wrinkles with Nick Caley. Appreciate it, Oscar. Yeah, I'm glad you like it. Do my best. Glad you're someone that likes to tune in. Yeah, and everybody, remember I'm on Twitter /X at Aaron Wilson _NFL. I'm also on Instagram, Aaron Wilson 7128. And here at YouTube, and of course at KPRC2 and www.click2houston.com. I see Higgins, to answer Lee's question, as a high impact player. I think he's going to be a red zone threat. I think he's a deep threat. I think he'll be a threat at all levels. I could see him having an impact in scoring. I'm just throwing this out there. I have no idea. 5 to 7 touchdowns as a rookie. I could see him doing it. I think he's going to make a fast adjustment. Yeah, most press boxes are a little lower, including especially the Titans stadium, where we're much lower and closer to the field. Used to be that way with the Ravens. Everybody's different. Colts is way up high as well. It's definitely steep and it's hard to see. You need your binoculars. Jim Davies want to know about the press box. There's always a chance, Josh, but I don't know. I think that let's see if they're, 10th or 12th, I think, probably on offense. Top 5 defense, absolutely. I think they potentially even to be the best defense. Statistically, that is. But I don't know if I'm covering like the 2000 Ravens or the 85 Bears kind of defense. With D'Amico, I think that at this point in his development as a coach, it's winning the clutch games. It's making sure the team is prepared, not flat like they were on Christmas. These are things like in certain games, seeing that they're ready and putting more of his stamp. I know he's a defensive coach. Help this offense. Help Kaylee's transition. I know that's something that he's prioritized. Not just saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to coach the defense. I don't think he necessarily did that before. But now that he's replaced Bobby Slowick, this thing needs to work with Kaylee. And I think that he will have a hand in the offense because he should. He's the head coach. He's the guy. Nick Chubb, I think number 2 running back, change of pace, probably some short yardage and all-around type of things, subbing for Joe Mixon. Thanks, Josh. Yeah, I think it's going to be absolutely good. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you coming in. Great questions for you. Yeah, you have a good night. Same to you, Steve Areno. Peace. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Christian Kirk with these underneath routes, his ability to run after the catch, good, sure hands, really, as they call him, the slot magician. I think he's a really strong addition. All right. I do not have Lamar Jackson edits. Sorry. I think he's going to increase the involvement of the tight ends. I think that they're going to get more targets. I think he's going to have some plays for those guys as well. I just can't tell you on how often. Tank, I was recently with Tank. I still expect him to miss the entire season. I think he might get ready at some point to practice back in maybe December or January, but I think they'll wait till next year. That's better for him. But he's doing well. He'll play football again. That's what everyone believes. I mean, Tom Brady's got 6 or 7 Super Bowl rings. So how would Jaden Daniels be better? Maybe more talented. Maybe a faster start to his career. But I don't know how you can say Jaden Daniels is better than Tom Brady. That's okay. That's the thing. That's the fun thing about sports. Everybody can have a different opinion. That's your opinion. I think 12 wins. I think they could do it. I could even see being 11 if the last game of the year is not meaningful. You asked about the Kevin Durant trade. I like it. I think Kevin Durant will help this Rockets squad be a NBA championship contender. Good point, Ball, right? Yeah, I know. He's just second year. He's got to have a little more staying power, though, right? For us to put him in the Brady category. Brady's the GOAT. Brady, Johnny Unitas, guys like that. Joe Montana. I have no Rockets news, Oscar. I do not delve into other sports. If I'm asked to cover it, I will. But no, yeah, I like the Durant trade. Darrell Taylor, yeah, I was just talking about Darrell earlier. I think Darrell's a very talented pass rusher. It's rare to find someone as a backup that's that good. Great upfield rusher. I would go with Daniel Jones. To me, Richardson's shown that he can't be accurate, that he doesn't hold on the ball that well, and he doesn't stay healthy. I would give Jones first crack. Right, Tristan. I mean, there are tight ends like we've seen Cade Stover do a good job of lead blocking in the past. I could see that, but right now I think the lean is toward having the fullback, and that would be Jacob Johnson. A breakout star that was unexpected. Just thinking. somebody that's kind of under the radar. I mean, maybe Higgins. Maybe Jaden Higgins might be that guy. Another request for a Lamar Jackson edit. I don't know why I'm getting all these requests for Lamar Jackson edits. Okay. I think Jaguars will improve because of Liam Cohen's play calling. And I think I don't think having Travis Hunter is going to be as big an impact as people think. I think he's got a lot to learn. But I like Brian Thomas Jr. a lot. I answered this a little bit at the start, collectibles, so I'll reiterate kind of the Cliff Notes version. Jimmy Ward, very serious legal situation. There are two sides to the story. There are some things I'm not going to get into because I'm not going to get involved in any potential victim shaming. That is not fair. I just would say, let's let it play out. Let's be patient and see what happens with Jimmy. But it's unfortunate. It's a very serious accusation. I wasn't there. I haven't seen a video. Don't know the facts. Don't know if there's going to be a video. May just be a classic he said, she said. They have a long history, some of which is available in court documents. But again, we do not at KPRC or on this channel or anywhere name alleged victims of domestic violence. It is against journalistic principles. It's considered unfair. And so I'm not going to do it. And people can ask me all they want. It doesn't mean I won't talk about the case. I do think the Texans will, give him due process, let him have some time to deal with the situation. I don't know what's going to happen. I know he has a tough draw in Montgomery County. You have a female judge that's a domestic violence specialist, has given a lot of speeches about domestic violence, and is a strong advocate for victims. So we'll see what happens with that. And a timeout for the guy that keeps asking me for Lamar Jackson stuffs. I don't know what this edits thing. Guys, if anyone has an answer, what is this edits? What am I supposed to be doing? Training camp, July 22nd, Jordan, is the reporting date. July 23rd is the first day. Thanks for being here, Jordan. Fans can come. There are 7 open days. I think I've got that close by. So let me give you guys a training camp update. There are 7 open practices. In fact, they have the following practices open to fans, including their back to football Sunday or whatever, Saturday, July 26th, July 28th, July 29th, July 30th, August 1st, August 2nd, August 14th, 7. Tomorrow morning, get involved in the lottery. Joint practice is August 14th, and then they have joint practice with the Lions in Michigan before there. And, of course, we go to the Greenbrier for 4 days, August 4th to August 7th. So I'm going to West Virginia. And, yes, fans can be there. The 28th, what, Brandon, are you talking about the last day? '26th, 28th, 29th, 30th, 1st, 2nd, 14th. Nico, yes, I think Jordan Nico, one of the best, all-pro kind of guy. Definitely top 7 to 10 receivers in the NFL. Quality player. Here's my, I don't know if this is big enough everybody can see. Probably not. Training camp schedule for my refrigerator. And we've had the schedule for camp for a while, including the knowledge of West Virginia. And I've already booked my flight. So, guys, we will be having lives from West Virginia. I'll be making videos from West Virginia. And take me home, mountain home, West Virginia. And then I'll be in Detroit, 8 Mile country, covering all that. The show's going on the road. Show goes on. Like they say in the movie. Show goes on. I'm not the show, though. The show is the players and the coaches, but I'm the conduit. I like to give you guys my insights, my information, from my access, and I'm privileged to have it. And just want to pass on things to you guys and keep you as well informed as possible because you guys are great fans. So remodel, no. This is a question about the stadium. Refurbish is a little different than remodel. It's going to take a while. They have years left on the lease. They'll try to fix some things up, including this year, the video boards. No joint practice in West Virginia, Sarah. Joint practice in Michigan, and that's in Allen Park, Michigan specifically, which is a suburb, I've told, a sort of nondescript suburb part of Detroit. So joint practice with the Lions in Michigan before the road preseason game at Ford Field. So yeah, they're not joint practicing in West Virginia. They're practicing, this is a chance to get out of the heat. As far as to anticipate questions, there is no decision yet on the alternate training site. That would not happen this year. They would have to build it out, the retail, everything. I think it's more of a 2026 kind of project. I mean, West Virginia is a long way. I mean, again, no one asked me for a vote, but I'll let you guys know what I think. I think there's too much travel in the preseason. It adds up when you talk about the expense of the entire season. So, a lot of news departments, they look at it and they think, man, this is a lot of money for practices. These practices are valuable and everybody likes that, but these games are more important. The playoffs are more important. So yeah, I get it. The NFL, they have a lot of, resources, but it is a strain. It is a strain, but, everybody's away from their families, including, the players and the coaches, and it's not ideal, but it's part of covering the league. It's just like going to the Hall of Fame and then spending the extra week in Cleveland. But if you're really serious and you have the resources and you have that kind of job and you're on the beat, then you need to be there. I think it's important. Guys, a couple more questions. So we're going on about we're going to go till 70 minutes. So we got about 8 more minutes to go. So any other questions, get them in now. And then we'll wrap up this second live. This one went smoother because I bought a new tripod and got a ring light going. And I've got my handy dandy microphone and just working on it, trying to get better. Henry liked the Ohio trip. Thinks it made the trip team closer. Henry Toto, he's right. I think that they did bond. There's not a lot to do when you're on these trips other than play video games and sleep and have meals together and hang out. And there's a bonding aspect of the trips, camaraderie, all that stuff. So it's also much cooler in West Virginia. And last time I checked, the Rams game is at SoFi Stadium, which is a dome. So what is the point of all these hot days? Where's the competitive advantage in that? And I appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody that's hitting like. And of course we have the super chats, all that good stuff. And it's up at the top right. Appreciate everybody that's contributed. Thanks, Jordan. Great question. The best way to support me in the channel, besides contributing and buying a membership, there is a membership that's always appreciated, is by liking, watching, and subscribing, and also having your friends like, watch, and subscribe, and join the channel. We got 9,400. We're hoping to get to 10,000. I'd like to do that as soon as possible. If anyone is a sponsor potentially that has a good business that might be appropriate, you guys can email me at awilsonsport56@gmail.com. It's a private email for me. Send me a note if you want to connect me with a business. We are accepting sponsors. Wanted to get to a point where it was, a bigger channel before, really looking to add to that. But, certain ads I'll accept, certain ones I will not. And I keep getting asked for Lamar Jackson edits. No one's told me. But if you ask me again for a Lamar Jackson edit, you're going to be put in timeout just like the last guy was. I think I'm getting spammed maybe. But it happens, right? It's part of the business. Just like the athletes deal with the trolls, and sometimes I deal with them too, or just different things. Thank you, Jim. Yeah, great questions from Jim and everybody tonight. I really appreciate the support. There are a lot of people here that have got a chance to ask multiple questions. That's how I want it to be. I want you guys to get the information you're interested in, so this can be as productive a time as possible, and we can have these more often. And I think about an hour, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, an hour is a good amount of time to put into it. There's only 24 in the day, so a good amount of time for everybody. Yeah, it might be a bot. You're right. Good point. From Lee. Could be a bot. Who knows what's happened? Maybe I'm getting hacked. Maybe it's some kind of foreign power. Don't know. Hopefully I'll be okay. I'm joking. I'll be fine. It takes more than a few bots to get me down. And through tougher things than bots. Absolutely. And like I said, we got a little more time here, so if anyone's got anything that just wanted to know, I'll try to answer your questions here in the last 5 minutes. We had a lot of great questions, a lot of great feedback. Appreciate that. In terms of balance, I think that run pass, it's going to be a little more balanced. I think they'll run the ball a little more than last year. Jonah Blair says hi. Hi, right back. Austin, to me, it has a chance to be more balanced. I think where they need to get a little bit better. Defense at linebacker. And then in terms of offense, obviously, pass protection, job one, have to protect C.J. Stroud. They do that, there'll be plenty of run pass balance, lots of play action respect, and some chances to go over the top. And maybe put a couple of these in the end zone. Some touchdowns. Need to get a better ball. Still, it's got a lot of autographs on it. Maybe I need a new ball. But yeah, this is my football. It's always fun for anybody just to hold the ball. Takes me back to my old football days at St. John's High School, all Catholic League, and then invited walk-on East Carolina University. A lot of fun. Missed the game, but physically way behind me. 30 years ago. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really needs to be a more balanced offense where they're complementing run and pass. I think last year was just this like script that just didn't adjust, didn't adapt. As I was saying in the last chat, that Bobby Slowick, he kind of earned it. That dismissal. It was not a good performance by the offensive coordinator. I felt like he kind of let the offense down, as did Chris Strausser. So we'll see. Is it addition by subtraction with the new guys, Nick Haley, Cole Popovich, taking over the reins, having important roles in the offense, and the return of Ben McDaniels, a good receivers coach and passing game coordinator. All right, guys, a couple more minutes, and then we'll wrap. Yep. Anyone wants to get in the last couple questions, and I'll answer them. If not, we can wrap, but just let me know. And thanks for everyone for coming here. And you've got a good group of everybody in the chat. I thought we had a really nice, talk about balance. We had some balance too with all the good questions. Yeah, Jordan, good question. Someone else had asked that as well. Jacob Johnson, the fullback, Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Dario Gomawale, Damian Pierce, and of course, having Woody Marks. I like the Battle Red too. I think it's pretty tough. I think that's the best uniform they have other than the navy blue. But yeah, I would say the Battle Red. I thought the Battle Red they had before, the one they wore when they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, I thought that was tough. That was a really good one. It's kind of a candy apple, tough red. That was a good one. But, I mean, I don't care too much about the uniforms, but I thought that was a good one. And you guys probably can tell, I am not a fan. I am a journalist. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not against them. I'm not for them. I'm just, this is my job. And I think it's better for me to maintain my objectivity by not getting too into stuff. Some of these things like uniforms and the Love You Blue stuff and the fight with the I mean, this is fan stuff, and that's not so much my, real window. I'm more about news, but that's kind of my training. That's what I'm into, more so than like the jerseys and things like that. But I appreciate that the fans like it, and that's kind of where I come from when it comes to the uniforms. So when they were they were so excited about the uniforms, that didn't mean much to me. It's what you do in the uniforms. It's a performance, because ultimately that's what matters a lot more than whether the uniforms are fancy and all that kind of stuff. But that's marketing. I appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, guys, we do have some people that I think are kind of in that fan category that might do some of this, but that's okay too. There's a home for all of it. I just have to be myself. So this is my lane. I'm not a robot. There's not any feelings or anything like that, but I do try to just kind of keep it business. That's my style. But you want to have good relationships. It's good for business, and it's also just the kind of way I've always tried to kind of carry out anything I be. But you want to treat these guys with respect and with some friendliness, and that's what the job should always be about, is professionalism and treating people well, because that's what they deserve. These guys, is a very, very tough profession. They don't get to play forever. It is difficult to be an NFL player. So yeah, I always keep that in mind. They're doing something most people could not do. So I always keep that at the forefront when you think about someone's performance, how personal it is for them. Okay. Another timeout on these Lamar Jackson edits. All right, with that, guys, let's wrap. Thank you very much for all the questions. Please tell your friends to watch, like, and subscribe, and support the channel. We have memberships, all those good stuff. And at some point, maybe there might be some member-only chats if we get enough members. So there could be some exclusivity like that kind of way. So you guys, thank you. Appreciate it. And we'll do this again soon. Thanks for making this an even better live than last week. And yeah, for all your time. Thank you, and good night. I'm just looking at a couple final messages here, and yeah, appreciate you guys. Yeah, it was fun. Had a good time talking ball with you guys, and we're 1 week closer to training camp. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a really interesting training camp. Obviously, we'll be focusing a lot on the offensive line and the overhauled receivers and CJ, and then on defense, just how good can this defense become? And I've got an upcoming article. I've been procrastinating a little bit. I took a few days, but I want to get this Mario Edwards Jr. article published. And we did the video, of course, on Mario, and we'll get that out there too. Guys, thanks so much. You have a great night.